We need to know about the person who wants to discern. Number one, the person has to be a prayerful person, a prayerful one who cultivates this relationship with God. And there's a desire to do God's will and openness to God. When we have that, what we find happening within us is we develop what is often known in the spiritual life, a familiarity with God, familiarity with Christ. Christ is very central to this whole process. So that's when we will be able to see on one level already whether this that I am feeling is really what God wants or what I want. And that's not wrong yet at that point. All we are saying is we see that. And so we now take that to the Lord and say, this is where I am struggling. It could be at that moment in the journey that God is also showing you this is where you are stuck, or this is the road I need you to cross at this point before we get to what you want. So having that difficulty of what I want, is it from God? This is a very normal experience, but this is also the time for us to trust in the Lord, and a prayerful person would do that. They won't terminate the journey. Others will say, let's just make the most practical decision and move along. And still others will say, this is too confusing, so let's not do this. But that struggle is normal, and that because we are trying to get in touch with what God wants, what the Lord wants me to do, we have to give it that time. So the late Father Thomas Green wrote books on discernment and prayer, and he used to say that. He says, a prayerful person, because they have that relationship with God, will be open to journeying through that question, that inner struggle, to find the right decision. The others would not. And he says sometimes it's also due to the fact that the devil is quick to tempt us and redirect us to other motives, But sometimes, we were talking about the Olympics just now. One of the things that these Olympians have to do is to train every day and be ready, and they have benchmarks that they set for themselves. But let's just say 1 week they found repeatedly that 1 week they were not hitting the benchmark. Do you quit? Now, sometimes that if you look at, okay, that 1 week why I wasn't, maybe analyzing that will give us an insight of something of the journey. And then years ago, a friend of mine who runs marathons, he said he always heard, runners will talk about the first long distance runners will talk about your first win and your second win. When after running about 5 or 10 kilometers, your second win kicks in, and suddenly you find you have a boost of energy. He realized later, he said there is a third wind that kicks in too, and that's how the body works. But you got to go a certain distance, and then you feel that push coming in. And so he interprets that change within himself as really is the body moving him towards that next stage. So sometimes this conflict that we feel is actually a good thing, but we got to stay with the Lord on it, and He will reveal Himself.